Hey guys, welcome back to Ted Head's channel. I'm your host Ted Head, and today we're going to talk about that wonderful movie that just came out, Terminator Dark Fate. Oh my god, where has my life gone? So today, I really do love the Terminator franchise. I'm a big fan of it. I've liked it since the first movie. I've seen everyone in theaters since they came out. But this film is about a Terminator who's sent back from the future to kill a little Spanish lady named Danny. And her supporting character is Grace, who is an enhanced human that is also sent back to defend her life. This movie is directed by Tim Miller. It's produced by James Cameron. So we got to see James Cameron come back. He also brought back, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger. What would a Terminator movie be without him? And Linda Hamilton after like X amount of years of being missing. Now, with this trio, you expected this to this is going to be what saves Terminator. This is it. This is the movie. And they even said that this movie is a direct sequel to part 2. So part 2 happens with the T-1000, and then we get this movie with the Rev 9. Now, speaking of the Rev 9, you find out that Terminator 2, it happened. It worked. Skynet got shut down. They destroyed the Terminator, they destroyed the chip, they destroyed the spare arm, and of course they destroyed the T-1000. And of course then Arnold jumped in after all of that stuff. So Skynet is done and finished and over with. But in this movie, you find out that since Skynet is gone, that just left room for another program to take over. And it's called Legion. And it has its own Terminators, in this case called the Rev 9. Now, the Rev 9 is a type of Terminator that is actually 2 Terminators in one. It has a liquid metal form like the T-1000, and then it has an endoskeleton like most other Terminators. Instead of the shiny look, we get a dark gray gunmetal look from this Terminator. And even the liquid metal on it is kind of like a black ooze. I think they did that just to separate the difference between the Terminators and the Revs. So it's a little thing, but it caught on. So this movie. Now, like I said, I love Terminator movies. I think Terminator movies are great. But the first 10 minutes of this movie, Eddie Furlong is back in the movie. And as soon as you realize that it's him, he gets shot. He's dead. John Connor is dead. That's how they decided to shake up this franchise. They kill the person, the one person that the whole franchise is about besides the mother. I mean, they did it brutally too. Oh, by the way, the de-aging program, like what they've been using in Marvel to make like Professor X look young and Magneto look young, in this movie, it is spectacular. Visually, the movie is freaking awesome. I mean, if you just want to go see the movie just to see how action-packed and how sci-fi and how good the CGI is, go see it. Definitely, go see it. But the story, they've taken like 30 years of Terminator and threw it in the trash. I know I have like mixed feelings about it, and it's probably going to be more of a rant than a review, but hey, Sarah Connor on this loop of where she has been throughout the years since he got killed, and this is after T2, she's in this loophole where someone's sending her secret text messages on her phone that gives her the coordinates to where Terminators are being dumped throughout time from Skynet, apparently. Now, you don't see those Terminators. You don't see her kill those Terminators. We just have to take her word for it. And basically what she says during the movie is like, I kill Terminators, then I drink till I pass out. She literally says that in the movie. So Sarah Connor's become this alcoholic, kind of whiny lady who gets messages to randomly go kill Terminators when they pop up. And we don't know who is sending her these text messages until like halfway through the movie. Okay, so Mackenzie Davis's character, who is Grace, who is an enhanced human, is the one that's sent back to save Danielle, who is the new savior of the world. She is going to carry the baby that's going to save the world, just like Sarah Connor did. No, Danny is the savior of the world. They literally say it in the movie. She's the new John Connor. You just don't buy her as being the savior of the world. They could have picked anybody else, and I might have believed it. I mean, as you go in height, Linda Hamilton is the smallest of the main three, and then you got this Danny lady who's like a foot smaller than Linda Hamilton. So it's kind of really weird to see her be the main character in this movie and say, yes, and we're gonna fight. And I'm like, I didn't believe it at all. It was not believable that she was even saying that. So They did a great job doing their lines and all that, but whether you believe it or not was the issue. So throughout this movie, it's just action packed. I mean, much like the third Terminator movie. Well, no, yeah, much like the third Terminator movie. Once the action starts, it kind of starts. Now, towards the middle of the movie, it kind of lags a little bit. There's a lot of exposition going on, which is fine because some of the story needs to be, you know, done out a little bit. So it's okay. There's nothing new in it. Everything's pretty much been done. And as I watched the movie, I realized like, oh, well, that part came from T3 and that part came from Genesis and that part came from T2. They're basically taking little bits from each previous movie and putting it in this movie. And I was like, what are they doing? Like, what are they doing? And I think the thing that really tripped me out once I saw what the Rev 9 was, and I did another video about this, is why the Rev 9? I understand that it's a different system and it's a different computer that thought up these Terminators. But obviously, if you look at the whole franchise, the franchise as a whole, the most powerful bad guy Terminator there's ever been in the whole franchise, it's the TX. It is. Think about it. Why would they use the Rev 9? Now, the guy that played the Rev 9, I believe his name was Gabriel Luna. Gabriel Luna, sorry. Gabriel Luna, butchering his name. He did an awesome job. He was a little loose in it. Like, he wasn't as menacing as like Robert Patrick, which is what everybody was expecting. He wasn't as menacing. I mean, he did the job, but he wasn't as mean looking. Even when he said his lines, he put like a little filling into it where I felt like he shouldn't have. It's like, but I guess that's the course of being a Terminator. When you're learning, you get more human-like. So, but I would have preferred him be more Robert Patrick in that role. It just wasn't Terminator-esque to me. But the action goes, they end up at a dam, and that's where the final fight happens. You know, Arnold's taking damage. Once again, he loses an arm. I don't know what it is with Arnold losing arms in these movies. It's kind of weird. Like, his face gets damaged and he loses an arm. Again, in order to kill this thing, they're going to use Mackenzie Davis's power system to short it out and kill and get an EMP and basically kill it. The final fight happens in the power plant, and it goes, and this was a weird one. Grace, who is the human protector, advanced human protector, and then you have Arnold, who is the T-800, and then you have the Rev 9 that comes in. And when the fight starts, there's talking. And I thought that was kind of weird for Terminators. He's like, why don't you just give the girl to me? Since when do Terminators like bargain? Like, as a matter of fact, isn't that one of the lines from the original movie?
That Terminator is out there. It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear. And it absolutely will not stop. Ever.
So they begin the fight, and as you know, the Rev 9 can split into two pieces, but for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe it's more powerful that way, it chooses to fight as one single unit. Now I'm thinking like, Mackenzie Davis, her character Grace, could barely keep up with the Terminator, whether it was Liquid or the endoskeleton, could barely keep up. So there's a loophole in that plan there. By this point in the movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger has lost an arm, so he's pretty much fighting handicapped. But this machine that they're fighting chooses to fight as a single unit. I was like, if you split up and take both of them on the way you are in two pieces, you'll knock out Mackenzie Davis, and then you can both double team Arnold. But I digress. The good guys are supposed to win, so, you know. But I think that was a loophole in the fight. The fight ends where Mackenzie Davis, she gets stabbed a bunch of times by the Rev 9, and she tells Danny to pull out her power source and stab the Rev 9 in it. That'll freeze his systems and then finally blow up. And Danny does that. And here's another thing. Danny, who is not impressive at all as a fighter in this movie, gets close enough to the Terminator after it's been damaged a lot to actually hand-to-hand fight it, stab it in the eye with the battery source, and then Arnold takes over and dumps it down a shaft where they both get melted to goo from the explosion. This movie, just the experience of seeing it was great. But if you're expecting a good story out of this movie, they're rehashing everything you've already seen. Literally, they're rehashing everything you have already seen. Not only that, they picked a version of the Terminator which is not the best version. If they really wanted to up the stakes of this Terminator, they would have made a TX version that can split into two the way the Rev 9 does. That would have been the most awesome, dominating Terminator. Now, I felt like what could have saved this movie is one, try to come up with something a little bit extra, a little bit more to the storyline, made the movie a little bit longer, just a few minutes longer. I didn't feel like there was enough exposition as far as like, there were some flashback scenes, but if they hadn't killed John Connor, that would have been great. As a matter of fact, in the third movie, not only was the TX after John Connor, who was the prime person to kill, it was also after one of his lieutenants. So it probably would have been better if Danny was just one of his lieutenants or something, and maybe in the future she came up with some awesome experiment that easily kills Terminators. Maybe she came up with an actual energy rifle that took out Terminators real easy. That would have been a better storyline. But this movie, I don't know. It was just a big loss to me. I'm sorry. If you had high hopes for this movie because you had James Cameron coming back to produce and Arnold and Linda Hamilton coming back for this movie, story-wise, they lost me. I'm sorry. They did. Action-wise and as far as photography-wise, the movie's awesome. If you just like Terminator, fine. Go see it. On that note, I'm going to end this review. Terminator Dark Fate. Are you going to go see it? Let me know down in the comments, and please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.